of course, we're a digital company and we kind of used to doing a lot of sessions, virtually. But as in general, we're not very used to working from home. Working from home is a very different concept for us, at least, if I look at more from an Indian target audience as such. We love coming to office, meeting people, and then, starting our work. But now with this new stuff of, sitting at home and working, uh, it wasn't that difficult because yeah, we used to technology, but I think it's not about the technology. It's more about the thought process, the way that we are tuned to working. And so that was a little, a challenge, but I guess with the time going, with so many days passing by, I think we've kind of figured what and how we should be working around that. Absolutely. So what we did was some time back, we rolled out a survey to understand what our employees are going through and how are they able to face that. So you're bang on that aspect about saying, a lot of countries are used to having their home set up in such a way that they have a home office. But for us, again, it's pretty new. And we're trying to figure out, how. So I guess those mailers that came in from our CEOs, from our leaders, where it said, hey, you know what, it's okay if your kid is walking around, if you have a pet, barking or your cooker whistle goes off. So that's absolutely fine. I think that gave us a little bit, that gave the employees a little bit more comfort level of saying, how I can manage with my existing infrastructure at home into an office environment. But honestly, yeah, it isn't as simple as a plug and play because we're not used to. So I think this is something new, and we are every day figuring out how next and how can we adopt ourselves to working in this particular style. So I guess it's not about work-life balance, and I guess we've been hearing this bit. It's more about work-life integration, right? Because work here you need one. When you're working from home, there are no boundaries. You're not working from 9 to 6 because when you're at your system, you're there, and your boss or your colleague or your client kind of calls you at post 6 o'clock kind of a cutoff time. So there's no boundaries of timelines now. It just gets extended. So you need to figure out when and where, how you need to be doing your work. So as an HR, what we are also trying to do is we send out mailers to our managers to see how they can help employees manage. Because on your first question on productivity, and I totally agree with Melody, I think the productivity has not dipped a bit. It's in fact increased because people have more time now because they're sitting at home. They're, and once you're hooked onto your system, your laptops, you kind of continue doing your job. So here, again, talking about that integration, you need to know, I may need a little extra time during afternoon because, employees may have kids whom you need to feed and make them, make them to sleep. Morning, you may want to start a little later. So your time gets extended, but your 9 hours of work that you're supposed to be doing, you continue doing that, but just that the time zone gets shifted. You don't start at like early morning, and you end at like 6, but you start a little later, take a break in the afternoon and extend it till late night. So I guess it's more about how your personal life, your professional life all gets together. You can't compare, you can't make it like, this time is this and this time is this. No, it has to, integrate and go through. So I guess, yeah, you're right. For a smaller organization, things are slightly different. At a larger, organization, slightly different. And most of the big organizations are not going for any pay cut. Probably the only thing that is happening is about you may not get your increments this year. They may not, the bonuses may not look out, may look through. But where in smaller organizations, yes, the pay cuts are happening. But I guess most of them, what they have done is about saying, till the time we tide over the situation. So it could be like for, for the next 6 months, we don't see something happening and you may take a pay cut and then we come back to the normalcy again and your salary will come back to the regular levels. So I think it's a combination. Probably a startup is going to be struggling a little bit more. The kind of industry which is not really going to be running. Let it be the transport or let it be even the event management company, where there's going to be a little, less usage there. So each company has to come up with their own strategy. I think the entire intent is about keeping that confidence with the employee, saying, hey, you know what, there are not, you're important for us. You will stay with us. Just the times are a little tough. So we may have to take certain calls. And I guess once you bring in your employees in your, decision making and, have that right communication done. So I think that solves a lot of purpose. So there are two things I would like to add here, Roshan, that about for any change, because this is a very big change that is going to be happening for all of us as an employee and for employers as well, right? One is on communication. As much as communication can be done, you know, when in doubt, you need to communicate even more. So more the communication. And the second thing is to engage employees. So any decisions that you make, you start engaging with your employee, and the employee also starts understanding, hey, you know what, we're all in it together. And he or she is also willing to contribute then. So it gets a little bit more easier to have your decision, rolled out. Right. I think very, very valid question. And I think that's what we've been seeing for some time now, is because, as I said, I think this is more from an Indian, connotation, because we're not used to working from home. This is something totally new for us. Uh, it is just the beginning, and I guess the managers have started to, kind of, but once they've got the flow and then they've seen the productivity is not dipping, in fact people are working and working longer hours than what they would have done at work. So now the level of confidence has increased, so things will automatically come in place. But again, this comes in from the training aspect. There needs to be training modules that come in saying, now how do you have to be a good manager? I mean, we have a lot of modules about saying, first time managers, and how to be a better manager and stuff like that. I think there needs to be a new module that needs to get rolled out, which is saying, how do you manage when you are working from home? And the training and development team will really have to work towards having such modules created, and train their people. I think that's I think one, time will help, and second is these trainings will take us through. So one, of course, smaller companies may not have, but I guess now is the time that you need to start thinking and looking. I mean, you don't have to have a person in-house, but you can also have, we have so many freelancers and we have so many consultants that you need to. And I guess this is the time that you need to onboard them and, have the training. I think that's most important. And two, this flows top down as well. You as the lead of the organization, or running your team, if you know exactly what to do, and Google is there for all of us. There's a lot of learning that we can pick ourselves. We have LinkedIn. There are so many learning modules which are there, and most of them are offering a lot of free modules at this particular time. So I think it's important that they go through, and it all flows top down. So once the leader is in line, I think the entire thing kind of works out. Just continuing with what Melody has said about the kind of activities that we're doing on engagement. So there are 4 parameters that we're kind of very keenly looking at. One is about the employee engagement, or connecting with employees, the leadership connect, the well-being aspect, and the family connect. Because one is the employee engagement is very much required, because they are the ones who will help. One, confined social isolation, all of these are the top concerns that employees are facing. So we need to free them up from all these, and all these kind of fun activities do help them come out. We did have a lot of initiatives that we used to do with in our physical premises, but now everything going virtual. So what we did was we converted the same activities into virtual activities. We call something like a Wednesday Eyes, that every Wednesday we used to have sessions which included right from yoga, meditation, Zumba, dancing. And so you have sessions going on, whatever you're interested, you can be a part of it. Now, what we did was we converted all of those into a virtual session, and then, use Zoom, Teams, all of these kind of platforms to have. And the best part of these sessions are all of these sessions are done by our own employees. We don't have an external person who comes and teaches us, but our own employees who are experts or who are certified in doing stuff. In fact, we also have language learning sessions, right from, art and craft, photography. So once we did all of these photography sessions, I mean, we have a closed group on Facebook, and we have our own internal intranet portal as well. And we could see floods of, photographs being shared and all. This got extended into family, because when we also have something like a live concert that we do, and we have our own employees come and sing. So we have 10 or 15 of them every Friday have that session. All employees started loving those. And the family, because you're sitting at home, you're watching it on your laptop, your family is also watching along with you. And we did get a lot of requests saying, hey, what, even my wife wants to do it, or my kid wants to be a part of the session and sing along. So now we have also included the kids and the family along. We have sessions, like Melody said, we have DIY sessions for our kids, teaching them a lot of things, right from, storytelling to moral storytelling to, art and craft, and, cartoon making and stuff like that. So we're doing a lot of those aspects which will help employee, release their stress a little. But I think the mental wellness is one of the, again, most important stuff. because again of these isolation, you're not used to, confined in the, four walls of your home, depression. So what we also doing is we have life coaches, we have webinars done by our life coach. We have, on-call doctors, on-call life coach for the employee and the extended family as well. And of course, the leadership session where the leaders are connecting. I mean, the key is about as much as you communicate. Now, when for smaller organizations, probably it is slightly easier because you have small set of people, you have 200 people, and you can get them all on Teams call. But such large organization like where I work at CL, we have 150,000 employees. Now, what happens here is you can't bring everyone, or even a small target. I mean, if I take just one city of say Chennai, I have 30,000 people. How do we bring so many people online? And that's where we will need the event managers to come up with something unique and different here, right? Because the existing, we've explored all, right? And we've been able to do it, but it's to a limit that we will be able to do. But after that is where the event management companies will, have to pitch in and come up with something unique. What they have to do is they can't pick what is existing, because I think we had enough time to research and we've researched everything possible and we've used all the options. So now with this event management companies coming, they will have to think totally out of the box, completely different. And because most of these things today are kind of available on the net. Some are free versions, some are a little bit licensed version, but they'll have to think out of all of these and come up with something unique. And I think there is a lot of opportunity right now to be very creative. Right. Thank you, Roshan. Thank you, Melody.